Hey, what's going on, guys? Adam here. Welcome to The Strength Life. In today's video, I want to talk about 5 basic movements that every person should include in their weekly strength training. Now, these are the foundational movements and exercises and lifts that should be, like I said, the foundation of your training. A lot of people kind of just go through the motions and waste their time on movements that really aren't going to do much for them, at least in terms of functional strength, aesthetics, so looking good, and really just feeling good, moving well. So really, these are the 5 movements that you want to incorporate in your training on a weekly basis in order to be functionally strong, look good, feel good, and move well as well. And so in today's video, I'm just going to kick it off with the first movement, which is push. You want to get strong on pushing exercises. Now, these include exercises and lifts like the flat barbell bench press. It includes things like a flat dumbbell bench press. And then my favorite would be like your dumbbell incline bench press, your barbell incline bench press. It targets more of the upper chest, and I really like that movement. These also include exercises like weighted dips or push-ups. You really want to get strong on these key exercises within this pushing movement pattern. So every effective strength routine is going to include some type of pushing movement or multiple pushing movements in that weekly routine. Next, we've got squat. Every good strength routine includes some sort of squat variation, whether that's a back squat, a front squat, any type of split squat. My personal favorites are things like Bulgarian split squats, ATG split squats, lunges, step ups. I like to do a lot of single leg squat movements. It's just kind of my preference. I don't really do any back squats or front squats. However, you should include some type of squat variation in your training. Next, we've got a hip hinge. So this includes things like deadlifts, kettlebell swings. You could do a hip thrust or anything like that. Anything that is going to train the hip hinge movement. This is different than a squat. So like I said, this includes movements like Romanian deadlifts, traditional deadlifts, trap bar deadlifts. It could be sumo deadlifts, anything that trains the hip hinge movement pattern. Next, we have your pulling exercises. Now, pulling exercises are personally my favorite. Things like weighted chin-ups, weighted pull-ups, barbell rows, dumbbell rows, seated cable rows, any type of pulling motion, pulling movement pattern like a pull-up or a row or something like that. You want to include that. That is going to be your bread and butter for building a bigger and stronger back, as well as your biceps and your training when you include pulling movements and get stronger on those movements. So those are my personal favorite to include. And then lastly, you want to include pressing, overhead pressing movements. Now, I separate this from my pushing movements. Obviously, they both work, triceps and shoulders. You do get engagement from those muscle groups. However, I like to separate them. I try to separate them as best as I can in my training. Sometimes I'll do a chest, a shoulders, and a triceps day or something like that. But I really like to keep my pushing movements separate from my pressing, my overhead pressing movements, so that I can be fresh each time I train those. But you really want to include and get stronger at some sort of overhead press. This includes things like a standing barbell shoulder press. It includes seated dumbbell presses, dumbbell Arnold presses. But you want to include these overhead pressing movements, get strong at them, and really build up shoulder strength and shoulder size as well by getting stronger on those key exercises within that movement pattern of overhead press. And so I think I hit all of them. We've got your push, your squat, your hip hinge, your pull, and your press. You want to get strong on these key movement patterns. You want to incorporate those exercises within those movement patterns in your training program. I personally, there's so many different training splits that you could do. I always fall back to a 3-day training split: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You could do, a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I personally like a 3-day split. You can break these movements up into 2 days if you want. You can break them up into 4 days if you want. I personally recommend a 3-day split. I think it optimizes recovery. You get to feel more fresh. But if you can handle more, you just got to do what feels good and feels right to you. Whatever is going to allow you to come into the gym fresh and stronger each and every time. But that's why I recommend a 3-day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday split, where you take these 5 movements, you spread them out over the course of the week. Now, you are able to hit these movements twice a week. There is a way to do that, but hitting them once a week works well too. But you want to include these 5 basic movement patterns in your strength training routine every single week. Now, like I said, the way that I'm kind of doing it right now, I'm on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3-day split. On Mondays, I focus on hitting my chest really hard, doing some arms, a little bit of shoulders, very light shoulders. On Wednesday, that's where I hit my lower body. That's where I'm doing my deadlifts and my squats, my hip hinges and my squat movement patterns, and a little bit more accessory lifts there as well for my lower body, like calf raises. On Fridays, I'm focusing more on building strength in my shoulders and in my back. And I do some light arms and a little bit of light chest on that day as well right now. So that's kind of my training split right now, kind of hitting everything twice a week, going really heavy on one day and taking it a little bit lighter on the other day. So I got 2 upper body days and then that single leg day there in the middle of the week. I find that this helps me to be fresh on my push movement, my primary chest movements, as well as my primary shoulder movements by separating those in my training. But those are the 5 basic movements. So my question for you is, do you include, or have you been including these 5 basic movements in your training? If not, I would love to hear why in the comments. If you are, what do you find is the best training split for you to break up these 5 movements throughout the course of the week? If you like this video, if it was helpful, I would love for you to like the video and subscribe to the Strength Life channel. I will see you in another video real soon.